Um, when I started working in technology, my hope was to build products that brought people together in new and productive ways. I wanted to improve the world that we all lived in. Instead, social media services that I and others have built have torn people apart with alarming speed and intensity. At the very least, we have eroded our collective understanding as a country. At worst, I fear we are pushing ourselves to the brink of civil war. I feel shamed by this outcome, and I am deeply concerned by it. So I'm compelled to talk to you all about what we can do to further limit the damage and maybe even undo some of it. My path in technology started at Facebook, where I was the first director of monetization. I was later the president of Pinterest for 5 years, and since leaving 3 years ago, I've been the CEO of Moment, which is a technology company focused on reversing many of the troubling outcomes created by social media. At Facebook, I believe we sought to mine as much human attention as possible and turned it into historically unprecedented profits. To do this, we didn't simply create something useful and fun. We took a page from Big Tobacco's playbook, working to make our offering addictive at the outset. Tobacco companies initially just sought to make nicotine more potent, but eventually that wasn't enough to grow the business as fast as they hoped. So they added sugar and menthol to cigarettes so users could hold the smoke in their lungs for longer periods. At Facebook, a simple directory of people engaged millions of users and kept them returning to the service almost every day. But business realities necessitated that we make the service even more engaging. So we added updates, photo tagging, and likes, which made status and reputation primary and laid the groundwork for the growing mental health issues we see resulting from these services. I left the company in 2010, but I continue to watch the company evolve and see the outcomes unfold. The next page in Big Tobacco's playbook was to add bronchodilators to cigarettes. This allowed the smoke to get in contact with more surface area of the lungs, allowing for misinformation, conspiracy theories, and fake news to flourish were Facebook's bronchodilators. But that incendiary content wasn't enough. Tobacco companies then added ammonia to cigarettes to increase the speed with which nicotine traveled to the brain. Facebook's ability to deliver this incendiary content to the right person at the right time in the exact right way through their algorithms, that is their ammonia. And we now know it fosters tribalism and division. Social media preys on the most primal parts of your brain. It provokes, it shocks, and it enrages. With misinformation, these companies hide behind the First Amendment and assert that they stand for free speech. But the algorithms continually choose which voices each of us actually hear. I don't think it's free speech that these companies revere. Instead, Facebook and their cohorts worship at the altar of engagement and cast other concerns aside, raising the voices of division, anger, hate, and misinformation to drown out the voices of truth, justice, morality, and peace. On a personal level, I'm aware that I've benefited from these addictive business models, and this deepens my sense of responsibility for where we are and my sense of obligation to help us improve things. I don't believe that I could have known at the time where the work I contributed to would lead, but for my role, I do bear responsibility, and accordingly, I'm dedicating my time and resources to undo as much damage as I can. I don't believe social media is the root cause of every problem we're facing, but I believe it may be the most powerful accelerant in history. I'm not a lawyer or legislator, but I can't imagine where we'd be if we hadn't held tobacco companies accountable for making so many people sick. And yet, this is what we've allowed social media companies to do, and I believe it has to change. These services are making us sick. These services divide us. It's time we take account of the damage. And it's time we put in place the necessary measures to protect ourselves and our country.